We will begin the bidding at 0.
And I have a card that will let you guys get that one more game in.
Welcome to MTG Unraveled, where we each choose a magic card and over-explain it to distract you from your current hyperfixation. I'm Rafa.
And I'm Ryan. Today we are doing cards that we just get super duper hyped about when we cast them in our decks. The most fun cards, things that you look at and you go, oh, yeah, this is going to be a good turn.
Oh.
Oh. Channel a little Beavis and Butthead there. So let's go ahead and start by guessing what your card is.
I've got a 3 red sorcery. It's a rare, and it was first printed in Mirage.
So I really, like, from your teaser, I know what this card is. Do I know the name of it? No, because every time you introduce this card, I go, there goes my commander.
That is why I love playing this card. The eye rolling, the sigh. If that doesn't show how blue of a player I am, I don't know what does, even though this is a red card.
I don't remember the name of the card, so...
That's all right. Let me give you the text box. Choose target creature. Each player may bid life for control of that creature. You begin the bidding with a high bid of 0. Proceeding in turn order, each player may top the high bid. The auction ends when the high bid stands. The high bidder loses an amount of life equal to the high bid and gains control of the creature.
When I say it's always one of my creatures, I'm serious. It's always one of my creatures. Poor Atraxa.
Yeah, usually.
Sheoldred, Elish Norn.
Build a deck where your deck can still function a little bit without a commander.
I have that. You would still target my Consecrated Sphinx.
That was the first one that came to my mind. How much life would you pay for the opponent's Consecrated Sphinx?
Yeah, I don't remember. There's a C in the name?
Yes, there is a C. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, what is it?
Illicit Auction. It's a pretty straightforward card. I mean, you bid, you choose a creature, and then each player gets to bid. You start the bid at 0. It ends when someone says 10, whatever, 20, and nobody wants to bid any higher than that. Then you win control of that creature. Yay! There's one rule, and it's kind of funny because I've never really thought about this card that far. It's life loss, not life payment, so you can bid higher than the amount of life that you have. So if you have like Platinum Angel, you're gonna win this bid. You could bid 200 if you wanted to. Will you survive after that? No. And state-based actions will be checked, and you'll immediately lose the game, and then the creature will go back to the person who it started at, but you can do that. Which also means that if you use something to take control of an opponent during their turn, and then somehow cast this at instant speed, you could make them bid to their death, which would just be really funny to do.
That would be kind of funny.
Yeah. It'd be like the greatest way. Because, I mean, you take control of an opponent, they have to assume they've lost that game. But this would guarantee it in the funniest way possible. I want to do it.
This card isn't, I'm sure you'll get into it. This is not I want this creature card. That's not what you use it for.
No.
You don't use it to gain control of a creature.
No.
It's how much damage can I do to the person who owns this?
It's really funny, too, when you pick a creature that would be good with someone else's board or their strategy, because then you have two people who actually really do want that creature, and then it gets fun. I do play this in one deck, and it's in Zedru, and when I was going through my list of what's the most fun card to play, I just kept thinking, how do I feel when I cast this card? But this card, every time I cast it, it just makes me go, lol, lamau. This is going to be funny.
With not that even shit-eating grin of yours.
Yeah. No, it's not even a good card. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm going to win the game from this card. That's not what makes me feel good about casting spells. This is going to be the dumbest thing ever. I'm wasting a little bit of time, but I think it's worth it. It's fun. So that's why I picked it, is because I just went, woo. Every time I have this in my hand, I'm like, I don't care if 5 mana is not worth this.
No, it's fun for you.
Yes.
And I end up getting boned from it.
Okay, let's be real though. I would have picked Prisoner's Dilemma, but I already picked that one for our first episode, so...
I really thought you were going to pick Descent into Avernus.
I really love that card.
Or, what's that spell that you've been so excited to cast on turn 1 lately?
Burning Inquiry. That is so mean.
It is mean. And you're always like...
Oh, we should probably say Burning Inquiry is 1 red, sorcery. Each player draws 3 cards and discards 3 cards at random. So if you're seat 1 and you play this, The starting hand they thought they had is no longer the starting hand they had, which is why this card is so fun. It's not fun late game. Late game, it's a dead card in my hand, basically. I might use it to fill up my graveyard a little bit, but it's usually just a dead card late game.
You've used it late game, and I can tell you that it has severely impacted people's turns. I hate that card for the same reason I don't like Gamble, is because I will discard the wrong card. I know that there are other people out there who feel the same as me, that are just like, nah, I'm not doing this. It's not going to work in my favor.
Gamble's the most fun tutor. Not the best tutor by any means, but it's so fun. There's one art for this card, and I've never looked at it very closely, and now I can never see this card the same. Do you remember what this card looks like at all?
No, I've never looked at it.
I've never looked closely at this card, so understand that when it's in my hand and it's like this big, that it, to me, looked like a hot air balloon or something. I was like, what the heck is this? What it is an elephant or an exotic animal, and it's tied up at its feet and standing on a podium, and people are auctioning for it. Yeah, I thought it was a hot air balloon until I looked at it closer and went, oh no.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it is illicit, and you are auctioning creatures.
Yeah.
So it fits.
The hot air balloon made no sense to me, but I think I just refused to see what the card art was. Yeah. So anyway, it's great art, Scott Kirshner, for what it is. Like, you did a great job drawing it. It makes me sad.
You depicted the meaning of the card very well. It's just unfortunate.
Could you guess what this card is legal in?
The huge.
Yep. Legacy, Vintage, Commander, and Oathbreaker. Now, if you were to guess, how much do you think a copy of this sweet, sweet card would run you?
I'm going to go $2.
No, it's older than that. $5.
Dang.
Yeah, for a good quality one, like a good looking one, which you can buy. So if you want to play this 5-mana spell, that's definitely worth all 5 mana you put into it and losing life, maybe. $5 and it's all yours. You're welcome.
I mean, it really isn't that terrible of a card if you have a good target. Like, if you know this person is not going to want to lose control of this creature, then people are going to be willing to pay 10, 15, 20 life.
Yeah, at that point, it is a 5-mana deal, that much damage.
Yeah.
And potentially take away a powerful creature from one opponent. Probably give it to another one if you're not taking it. It is fun to play, though. If you've never played it, it is fun to cast and just watch someone squirm over their creature.
If you really, really like to torture your opponents, and that is what makes Magic fun for you, play this card.
The only thing I've got left to say about this card is there are 7.5 thousand copies of this card in decks on EDH Rec. That's more than I thought. There's more of this card being run than I thought there would be.
Probably for the same reason you run it, because people go,
So you've pretty much hinted at it, but what do you think of this card?
I probably wouldn't have very strong opinions about it if I hadn't experienced it so many times. This is a personal vendetta against this card. Is it something that I would enjoy casting? Yeah, probably. I just don't like it cast against me.
That's fair. Other cards that I find really fun, Gamble included. I've had bad experiences with it, which was what factored into, if I'm going to call this the most fun card I have, that it's going to be this one. I've never had a bad experience with it. Where Descent into Avernus has lost me the game multiple times.
Funny you say that, because I definitely have had a bad experience with my card.
Oh, really?
But I still think it's fun.
Well, anyway, let's get on to your card then. I am very curious what you picked.
You ready to see him roll his eyes? So mine is black, 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 black. That would be 6 black pips. It's a rare from Duskmourn. It's a creature, demon, and it is a 6/6.
It's Demon of Archpriest. I have no idea.
Let's just slap some words together.
Yeah, those are words.
It doesn't actually have demon in the name.
Oh, darn it.
Okay, text box.
Yep.
It has flying. When this creature enters, if it was cast, each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card.
It's such a dumb card.
It's so great. So this would be Doomsday Excruciator.
Yeah, I was real close to guessing that. Yeah.
Yeah, with the none of the words matching. So close.
It is actually appropriately named, though.
So, There are 2 arts. The base art is by Dennis Sapirko. The closer I looked at the original art, I actually like it a lot more because the demon has 6 eyes, 6 fingers on each hand, and there are 6 floating orbs in front of it. So it fits the whole, it's a 6 cost, 6/6 that you exile all but 6/6 thing, and then in the art you have 6/6 too. I thought it was really cool, and I never noticed that before. I actually run the alternate art because I typically go for the full art ones, which the other one is by Jarrell Threat. And the full art is a demon that's reflected in a pair of sunglasses because, you know, Duskmourn had that like weird 80s theme. I like how vibrant it is, purples and blacks and pinks and stuff. So that's why I picked it. How much do you think this card is worth?
Throw it in the trash. That's how much it's worth. I don't know. $4.
Just base ones is about $1.
Oh, wow.
There's a promo version that you could get that's at about $4.
Oh, demons are just like one of those things that I'm always surprised at how much they cost because they like hurt you too. But yeah, this one's actually appropriately priced too, I guess. Because some of the demons, I'm just like, why is that card like $15? Who's going to play that card if they're not in a dedicated demon strategy?
People like demons.
Yeah.
Demons is cool. Who doesn't want to sit around and command a bunch of demons? This can be used in everything except for Pauper, even though it's really just a commander card. According to EDH Rec, it's in 0.52% of decks it could be in, so it is not played very much. Not played often, and that's because it's pretty finicky with how you want to try and play this card.
Yeah, if it's in your deck, it's for a very specific reason to get everyone's libraries to nothing, and then you still have to figure out how to get everyone else's libraries gone before yours. Because obviously, if you think about this card, you're going to draw more cards than your opponents if you don't do anything else and lose first.
So I wanted to look and see what kind of decks that this card would be good in. Obviously, I have it in one deck. It's in 80% of decks for a new commander, Baron Helmut Zemo, which there's only 448 decks on EDH Rec for this commander right now because it's relatively new, but still it's in 80% of those decks. This creature is black, black, black. When you cast a black spell from your hand, Baron connives, and then it has Boast. Exile any number of black cards from your graveyard with 15 or more black mana symbols among their mana costs. Copy those exiled cards. You may cast up to 3 copies without paying their mana costs. It's in there because it is 6 solid black pips, and you still get to cast the copies, so you still get the benefit of exiling everyone's library. Other decks that I figured it could go in is if you splash in blue, obviously this would go in anything that has Labman or Thoracle Winds. So instead of depending on milling everybody else out or getting them to draw when their library is empty, you're trying to do it to yourself, which can be a little bit more reliable than...
Yeah, it also exiles all their win cons, most likely.
Yeah.
All your opponent's win cons.
And then the deck that I have it in would be card draw punishment strategies. So I have it in my Shieldred the Apocalypse deck. The other commander that I saw that it had a pretty high percentage of inclusion rate in is Saison, Perverter of Truth. 3 black, black. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, they lose 2 life and draw 2 cards. So basically, you just want to make sure that if you're playing this card in this strategy, that you have enough pieces on board that will get your opponents to draw more cards than you will. Because this automatically makes you draw 1 more than everybody else.
You lose!
Dead.
Sign in blood here. Yeah, I've seen you win the game with this card, so...
No, you have not.
Yes, I have.
No, you have not. Win? No, I did not.
You didn't win
So, my experience with this card is it's in my deck. I have cast it 1 singular time, ever, and I cast it knowing for a fact I was going to lose the game. And everybody was still, like, pretty high in life totals and, like, had their boards going. Shieldred had been hated on to oblivion and was impossible to recast. All of this stuff. But I had this card in my hand. I had the mana to cast it, and I was like, I just want to cast it. And this means that we will move on to the next game way sooner than if I just let everyone chill with their life totals and libraries. And I had Unholy Annex, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I had that out on the board.
Yeah, you were drawing 3 cards a
So
turn.
I was drawing 3 cards, and everybody else was just drawing their normal stuff. I think I might have had one other piece that had people draw 1 extra card. And actually, the game still went a little bit longer than expected because the other people's boards, 2 of them, had boards that were still good enough that they were fighting back and forth.
Oh.
But it ended in 2 or 3 turns, maybe, instead of however long it would have taken otherwise. But it is really fun because you watch everybody go, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have access to almost anything. And you don't know what's left in your library because you don't exile them face up. So you have no idea. Yeah. So looking at strategies on how to actually win with this card, unless you're doing it for the lols, mill the rest of their library. Another thing that I thought would be really cool to figure out is if you can manipulate the bottom of your library so that when you cast this, you know at least some of what those last 6 cards are going to be. So having lots of scry effects, that could be a cool way to kind of manipulate the situation to better it for yourself.
Very true. Yeah.
If you guys know a good way to do that, other than just some like really bad when this enters scry one, let me know. And then there's also ones where you can put things back into your library. Epitaph Golem is a 5 mana creature, and you can pay 2, put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. It doesn't get any of the cards that you exiled with Doomsday, obviously, but you might already have stuff in your graveyard.
There's the Campfire, the artifact that's colorless, Campfire, that shuffles your graveyard back into your library. Any
of the Shuffle Titans.
Yep.
If you want an Eldrazi in there. Or there's Cauldron of Eternity, which I had never heard of this card. 10 black artifact.
Oh, yeah.
But it costs 2 less to cast for each creature in your graveyard.
Okay.
And then whenever a creature you control dies, you put it on the bottom of your library. And then it's 2 black tap, pay 2 life, return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird card.
It is a weird card.
Yeah.
But it can keep, like, even if they keep removing your creature, they're just putting more into your library, whereas they're still drawing cards out of their library.
Or if you have a sack outlet, you could theoretically survive way longer than anyone else can by, playing your creatures, sacking them, and then when you draw them again, play them and sack them.
So that's Doomsday. There was a couple of other cards that I really considered. This whole process made me realize how much I truly do love black and how much I hate my opponents. I had thought about talking about Peer into the Abyss, which you had brought up, which is another shielded card.
Honestly, it's what I guess you would pick. Because every time you cast that spell, you're like...
Almost all of mine are big splashy spells that I had thought of. Rise of the Dark Realms came up.
Hey, that one's on my list. It's not even that good of a card anymore, but every time it resolves, you're just like, yes! Infinite power! A lot of people say, oh, Rise of the Dark Realms isn't good anymore. I don't care. When it resolves... It's freaking sweet. Yeah.
I have it in my bracket 4 Atris deck, and that's because I don't care what y'all have in your graveyards. If you got something good, that's just icing. And then my last one was Lae'zel's Acrobatics, leaving black, going to white. You exile all of your creatures, all of your non-token creatures, and then you roll a d20. And if you get 1 through 9, they come back at the end step. So in a blink deck, you get all of your enters triggers again, which is great for all of your creatures.
Can also save you from a board wipe.
It can also save you from a board wipe. But if you roll a 10 through 20, it feels so phenomenal because you're like, haha. They leave, they immediately come back, and then leave again, and then they come back. And then you have to listen to your opponents go as you resolve 500 triggers.
It's so true. You're just like, okay, how much more you got left? I would just like to note that we haven't talked about blue spells being very fun to cast this episode, and I completely disagree. But it's very boring to say, I just like to have 2 blue mana up. But that is, honestly, some of the best feeling times of Magic for me, is having 2 blue mana up and just watching people go, ugh, and then have to take their turn.
Yeah, I have 0 trust in you. And you're so hard to read.
So I just want to give blue its proper recognition that having 2 blue mana up, there's nothing quite like it. It's great. Try it sometime if you hate it. I also would like to note that I had never cast Ad Nauseam until we got into CEDH. And Ad Nauseam is freaking fun. It is so fun to be like, did I read this right? I just get to keep going. I'm still going. 20 cards down. Okay. All right. I get all this for 5 mana. See, that's what 5 mana should do.
Have you killed yourself with Ad Naus?
Not directly. I've killed myself by not being able to win at 2 life. So, yes, ? Not from the spell itself. No.
I don't run that card, and I know I would kill myself. I just know it.
I should. Honestly, the correct answer is yes for people who are actually good at CEDH, because you would keep going if you don't have what you need.
Yeah, that's true. I
But I'm
might
a
also
coward.
just be a baby and be like, okay, I'm at like 10 life.
I have a little bit more for my honorable mentions because I was waiting until this part, but we had mentioned some already, but I didn't realize just how much blue hate I run. So if I'm not playing blue, I definitely like to hate on blue. I have Carpet of Flowers in like basically every green deck I have. There have been times where it's been in my hand with no blue players at the table, and I still haven't cut it from my decks because I'm like, when this card works, I'm like, suck it, blue players. I just got 3 mana for 1 green. I love that card in every deck. I also love Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast, which are just obviously very strong cards. But yeah, I run a lot of blue hate cards. If I'm not in blue, you don't get to have fun in blue either, I guess. So, and then there's just one more card I wanted to talk about, and it's, again, a lot of how I like to play, which is Invert Polarity.
Oh, yeah.
You remember this card? It's blue, blue, red, instant. And it says, choose target spell, then flip a coin. If you win, you get to gain control of the spell and change the target. And if you lose the flip, then you counter the spell.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for you.
Yeah, it is. I have it in Bria in my Storm deck. But I think the only reason I thought it was as much fun as it is because I cast against you. And that made me happy. All right. Well, those are the cards that we thought were the most fun to play in our decks. There's, I'm sure, a ton more. But before we end the episode, we like to talk about something that we have been hyperfixated about, whether it's within the world of magic or outside of it. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, this week it's obviously in the world of magic. We went to MagicCon, and this is our first episode we've filmed since getting back. So I just wanted to start with, what was your favorite part of this year's MagicCon in Vegas, we should say?
Oh, yeah. I think the thing that I was most excited that I got to do was this year I actually went to one of the Draw with the Artist sessions. I really wish I had gotten a couple more in, but you sit down and for 30 minutes you have one of Magic's artists sitting in front of you, walking you through how to draw something and explaining their process, answering questions about how they got into art, how they got into doing art for Magic, things like that. And it was just, I think that art is such an important part of what makes Magic Magic.
Oh, yeah.
The game is great. We obviously love playing the game, but the art is what takes it to that next level. And to get a little bit more of the inside peek and be able to just sit there, and there were so many times where I had stopped drawing just to sit and watch and then went, oh, I'm like 3 steps behind. So mine didn't turn out very well.
Wait.
But it was an awesome experience and definitely something that I will do whenever I have the opportunity the next times we go. What about you?
No, I remember you being excited. I just love meeting a whole bunch of people. I love how dedicated everyone is. Not dedicated maybe, but enthusiastic. If you're going to go to a MagicCon, you have to be a certain level of enthusiastic about this game. So I love just being surrounded by those people and seeing new decks. If I had to say an event, the cosplay show has always been a huge hit in my opinion. And this year's was like, they just get better in my opinion so far. We also went to pretty much every play to win thing that they had. I don't know why, but they were just on point this con. Those guys are awesome.
They're hilarious.
And it was so enjoyable. Everything that they did this year that we were a part of. Yeah.
I think we missed their live podcast last time, but we got to go to it this time, and just actually watching them go through their like witty interactions with Tyler especially is fantastic.
Yeah. And they're just awesome people in general. If you get the chance to meet them, they're just really, really great people. Yeah.
The whole con is such a wild experience. I was really hesitant, to be honest, about this year and going this year, just because last year's Vegas MagicCon, when it was Final Fantasy, was overwhelming.
Yeah.
There were so many people. We were in such a small space. I remember I literally could not stand anywhere looking at cards or whatever it may be without having like 3 people on top of me. And I know we're all trying to do the same thing, get the things we want, but it was so much. And so I was really worried about that.
Yeah. But it was more fun this year than last con.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And honestly, with having our podcast, I had a much easier time talking to people. I have talked about it many times that I'm quite antisocial in many ways. And I typically do not interact with people very much. And I think I only played one game this year at the con. And it was with 2 other people I knew and 1 person that I had met previously the year before at the con. But I talked to so many people, whether there was one girl that I met at the artist thing and we sat and chatted the whole time. She seemed amazing. She does art. She wants to be a magic artist. I'm rooting for her. Or going outside and talking to people there or talking to people at booths or whatever. It was having that little what to talk about was really, really helpful. And it really did make the entire experience so much more pleasurable for me, being able to interact with people more easily.
That's awesome. Yeah, just kind of an icebreaker, basically.
Yeah. Point is, if you have not had a chance to go to MagicCon, just try going to one. It's being surrounded in an area that is full of something that is your passion. There's nothing like it. What's your favorite card that you got? Because we definitely bought quite a few singles.
I mean, the new Ad Nauseam art is really pretty. Single that I bought, I didn't buy too many, to be honest, but I did pick up a foil Ragavan, which I really wanted. So that's probably my favorite. What'd you pick up?
I'd say my 2 favorites that I was able to get my hands on were my Mana Foil Lathril, because I did a mix of upgrading my decks with new cards and just upgrading cards I already have, because pretty cards are pretty cards and I love them. And then I also was able to finally get my hands on a foil Yuna.
Yeah, I remember. You were excited about
in the
one.
pretty art. I looked at every booth, but I was able to find just the regular foil one. And I was really, really excited about that. I like shopping at the con. That's what I do. All right, well, that is it for today's episode. You can find us on TikTok for more Magic content and other nerdy shenanigans.
And if you'd like to share any of the quirks that Magic has hidden in their cards, join our Discord in the description. If you have questions or suggestions, please leave a comment or send us an email.
We hope you learned something new about the cards we talked about today. Please let us know in the comments what your favorite Magic cards to play are, whatever gives you that extra hype in the middle of a game that you're like, yeah, I'm doing this. I want to know so that I can play them too.
Yeah, it's the reason we play, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your week.
Click all the buttons.
Do all the things.
And we will see you next time.